Mike was always intense. He was intense from the time I first met him, which may have been 8 or 9 years old. If you did something wrong, he'd point it out to you, even as a kid. And that's the way Mike was.
Well, I think that I am truly a product of America.
For young Mike Ditka, America was Aliquippa, a western Pennsylvania mill town located in the heart of steel country.
Aliquippa was a unique place. It was the epitome of America, the American dream. It was a melting pot of every color, creed, nationality, and religion. And it worked. You know why? Everybody had about the same thing. They had an opportunity to raise their families, to have a job, to put food on the table. My father worked hard. He worked in a steel mill.
The son inherited the father's demanding nature, and this fueled his competitive fire at an early age. At Aliquippa High School, Ditka was a 2-platoon player and team captain for head coach Carl Ashman. He played on the Quip state championship team in 1955. 2 years later, Ditka was a highly coveted recruit.
Coach Ashman wanted me to go to Pitt.
Ditka was a two-way end at Pitt, where his defensive skills helped him earn All-American honors. On offense, he caught few passes, but his versatility made him an attractive pro prospect. In 1961, he was the Chicago Bears' first-round draft choice.
First of all, I wasn't sure I could play pro football, because most of my prowess in college or notoriety came as a defensive player. And then when I get to the Bears, I'm playing a position called tight end, and no one knew what the heck it was, really. I mean, it was kind of a new position.
Billy Wade finds his great rookie Mike Ditka open and whips the ball to him. Iron Mike completes a 36-yard TD strike.
I caught 12 passes my senior year in college. 12. I caught 58 my first year in pro ball and 12 touchdowns.
Ditka was the NFL's Rookie of the Year.
The first thing that Mike did is change the tight end position to an attack position. Before Mike Ditka came along, the tight ends were guys that blocked, and once in a while you throw them a pass and they get a 10-yard completion. Mike Ditka changed all that because he could get downfield, and he transformed the tight end position to kind of what it is now.
Ditka was the first tight end to be used as an offensive weapon. He would eventually become the first tight end inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
I could never outrun anybody. I had to wait till they catch up and try to slug them.
He played football and he coached football the only way he knew how. And that's just beat the guy across from you every single play. I think he was a throwback, He could have played in any era.
Iron Mike powers for the final 30 yards on a 47-yard play.
Iron Mike was one of the fiercest competitors of his era. He was voted to 5 Pro Bowls during his 6 seasons in Chicago. In 1963, Ditka helped the Bears win a world championship, but he and head coach George Halas were on a collision course. The impact would change Ditka's career and life.
So Halas traded Ditka. Maybe part of it was out of spite. It was a big mistake. But they had very similar personalities.
As a player and as a man, Ditka crash-landed in Philadelphia.
He didn't want to be there. He was played for a bad team. Didn't like the coaching staff, and mainly didn't like himself. He started drinking and admitted it was a problem.
When you find people who lean on alcohol or drugs, then they're copping out. They're weak, and I became weak at that time, and that was a person I didn't like very much in my life. I had no career after Philadelphia. I was retiring when I got the phone call from Coach Landry, and he told me very honestly, he said, "I traded for you." He said, "But I'm not sure you can play anymore." He said, "I'll take a chance on you if you take a chance on yourself." And I probably became the best player I ever was in Dallas because I became a team player. I didn't care how many passes I caught or how many touchdowns I made. I cared about the success of the Cowboys and Coach Landry and my teammates, and I really did, and I can honestly say that. I was part of Tom's first one, and God, that was great.
Tomac comes back to pass. That's up. Pass to Ditka played for 3 years in Dallas. Then, in 1973, Landry asked him to become special teams coach. He served 8 seasons as a Cowboys assistant, but he yearned to be a head coach, and there was only one team he wanted to lead.
Now, as I present Mike to you, please treat him as nicely as you did.
Well, the general perception was, we love Mike Ditka. He's an iconic player, but this is no head coach.
At first, the Mike Ditka brand was a tough sell in Chicago.
Go out the weak side, you dumb son of a... Get in there, Mosley!
He was brutish. He was volatile. He had a perm. He was exactly what the Bears needed.
I wanted the Bears to be the best. I wanted the Bears to have the best reputation. I wanted them to be the toughest, and I wanted to win the championship. And I told our team when I got there, I got good news and bad news. The good news is we're going to win a Super Bowl here. The bad news is a lot of you people aren't going to be here when we do it. And I didn't mean that to be cruel. I meant it to be factual. That if you weren't willing to pay the price, you weren't going to be there, period.
Ditka was not an easy man to get along with.
So you call your husband Coach or Mike?
Ass.
And nobody knew that better than the quarterbacks who played for him in New Orleans and Chicago.
Well, he was tough on quarterbacks, there's no doubt. But, playing in that offense is not good for quarterbacks anyway. I mean, everybody knew. 3rd and long, we're going to run sweep with Walter. So I just called something else. And he did blow up a lot of times. He'd yell at me, I yelled back at him, and everything was fine. Mike always thought I did it just to piss him off. And I didn't. I wanted to win football games.
McMahon wasn't the only one.
As Flutie throws and nearly has that one picked off. Ditka is going to eat a sneaker. Flutie changed at the line of scrimmage. He's got Moorhead by the jersey. Get in there and tell him what I want done.
He just expects you to be mentally tough. He expects you to be a football player. He expects you to be hard. And those are the kind of guys he wanted playing for him. That's the kind of guy he is himself.
You got to love it. He was this way as a player. He'd come back and practically punch out his own quarterback.
Ditka remade the Bears in his image. Tough-nosed players who didn't take crap from anyone. In 1984, Ditka led the Bears to their first postseason victory in 20 years. The players fed off his raw emotion. That attitude was the driving force behind the 1985 Bears. A team led by Walter Payton, Jim McMahon, and Buddy Ryan's 46 defense. A defense that still resonates today. The Bears ground the life out of their opponents like an over-chewed stick of gum. They embarrassed the NFC's top teams on their way to a 15-1 record. They were the Bruise Brothers, the Grabowskis, a perfect reflection of their Steel Town coach.
Look at the postseason when they came together like no team ever has. They gave up 10 points in 3 games. They toyed with their opponents.
McMahon rolling left, looking to deal. He fires the left side of the end zone.
Super Bowl in New Orleans, it was like there was one team in town.
This defense has been incredible. They knock your socks off just to watch it. First and goal from the 1-yard line. Hand off to the
When it was over, Mike Ditka reigned as the King of Chicago. Ditka's larger-than-life personality still resonates today. He is still blunt and outspoken, and still very much in demand as a speaker, endorser, and actor. As the face of gridiron greats, Ditka is a passionate advocate on behalf of retired players who have fallen on hard times. The organization provides financial assistance to former pros who need medical care and other basic necessities.
Football doesn't owe me anything. I owe my whole life to football. If somebody said, okay, here's what's going to happen to you. When you're 72, you're going to feel this way. Will you play the game? I said, absolutely, I'd play the game. And I'd even play it harder than I played it.
Mike Ditka played and coached as hard as anyone in NFL history.
I've never known anybody quite like Mike Ditka. He was one of a kind. He's the epitome of what Chicago wanted in a football player and a football coach.
Ditka stood for more than, winning and losing. He just had that little look about him that said, we're going to kick some butt today, but we're also going to have a little fun doing it. And we're going to share it with you, the fans.
I think Sinatra said it pretty good. Regrets I had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I think you always have a few regrets. But, if you live in the past, you die in the past. I'm not going to go back and rehash all the stuff that people want to rehash. I don't care what you've ever done in your life. It has nothing to do with what you're going to do now or what you can do. The past is history. Tomorrow's a mystery. Today is a gift. That's why they call it the present.
Our final honoree tonight was once described by the Chicago superfans on Saturday Night Live like the sun, only brighter. As a kid who grew up in Green Bay, Wisconsin, idolized Walter Payton, I agree. Coach, there's one guy in Green Bay that thinks Mikowski was over the line. That's me. I'm the only guy. To introduce the 2016 Distinguished American Award, we call to the microphone Jeff Hubbard, president of the Connecticut and Western Massachusetts market at KeyBank.
Thank you, John. Let me begin by saying what an honor it is for KeyBank to serve as a presenting sponsor. We've been presenting sponsor for the Walter Camp Foundation since 2010. Friday morning, Ernie Williams, past president of the Walter Camp Foundation, grabbed me and said, I'm going to introduce you to Mike Ditka. You get to introduce him on Saturday night. Like many of you, I was very excited for this opportunity to meet Mike. So dutifully, I ran over. Mike, I'm Jeff Hubbard. I'm going to introduce you Saturday night. He paused and he put his hand up, and I thought, this is going to be great. Coach Ditka is going to give me some advice. He puts that big hand on my shoulder and pulls me in. Says, buddy, let's just make it fast. So to that end, it is my pleasure to introduce to you the Distinguished American Award winner for 2017, Iron Mike Ditka.
Thank you. I want to say one thing first. If BS was cement, these guys could build a highway to heaven. Damn, I knew I was good, but not that good. It's been a heck of a road. I've had my ups and downs and ins and outs, and I've probably made a lot of people mad and disappointed at times, but I read something a long time ago. Yeah, regrets I have a few, but then again, too few to mention. And I think that, I set goals for myself. I was fortunate, though. My father was the toughest guy I've ever met. He was in the Marines when I was born, and when we came home from the Marines, I got my ass beat a lot. But he taught me right from wrong, and I understood it. Had a great high school coach, Carl Ashman. He was in the film. Had a great college coach at Pitt. Then I went to the Bears, and I was coached by the great George Hallis. After he got tired of my act, after 6 years, he shipped me off to Philadelphia, where I was in purgatory for 2 years. And then I moved on to Dallas with Coach Landry. I got to heaven. And that was the turning point in my life as a person and as a player. And I think I came full circle because of meeting that man, Tom Landry. And, I'm not perfect. I don't profess to be perfect. It's been a heck of a run, like I said. I've done good, I've done bad, but I would tell you young men something. The game was my life. Respect the game. It's not about showboating. It's not about calling attention to yourself. Football is the most consummate team sport there is. You can't do a damn thing without the guy beside you or behind you or in front of you. It's that simple. You've got 11 on the side. Enjoy it, respect it. They're your teammates. It's the most amazing team game I've ever seen. And when it works, it's beautiful. And when it works, it's beautiful. But it takes everybody pulling for the same thing. It's not about individual accomplishments. I caught a lot of passes when I played. That wasn't the goal. I liked the short one I caught where I got to run over somebody. Now, that was a little bit of fun. And I played against some pretty tough guys, too, You didn't always run over Herb Adderley or the guys like that. They would knock you right on your ass. So, but, like I said, I could probably sit up here and tell you I got regrets. I hear Sandra talking, and, what's important in life? What she dedicated her life to, the child, the way she lives her life, the way she cares. There's a special place for people like her in heaven, and she'll be in heaven, and I believe that. God takes care of the good people in this world. She's a special person. And I see it in other people up here, too. If somebody would have told me when I was 8 years old or 9 years old trying to play football or baseball or basketball, I played them all. None of them good. I did have one thing. I guarded Jerry West in basketball when he was at West Virginia. I was at Pitt. I didn't guard him very long. I guarded him about 5 minutes. I had 5 fouls. He had 20 points. I tried. But I want to thank you very much. I want to say one thing. I saw the award. What's it say again? This is pretty interesting. Distinguished American. I'll tell you what I am. I'm a proud American. We have a lot of things that are wrong. We don't cry about it. We fix these things over a period of time. We've done it through the history of this country. We'll continue to do it. Hopefully we get it right. We'll never get it perfect, but we'll get it right. And like I said, I'm just proud to be an American. I'm proud that I was born at the time I was, and God has, He's really blessed me. And not that I speed or talent or anything like that. He blessed me with a heart and a desire to maybe be something that I didn't think I could be. So I worked a little harder at it. So all I'm saying is, for you young guys out there, I think this is very important. If you put limits on yourself, that's as far as you'll ever go. There's no reason to put a limit on it. The sky's the limit. If you set a goal, set it high. And if you don't hit the goal, whatever the hell you hit will be a lot better than what you're at right now. And I really believe that. I'm going to come in here. I listen to Warwick down. I was coaching when Warwick came in the league. Those guys killed us down in Tampa. Are you kidding me? I saw all those highlights in there were against us, the Bears, when I was coaching. That wasn't fun, but it happens. But I just want to say sincerely to the players, respect the game, give everything. I want to tell you first of all, I'll leave it one last thing. My first contract in the pro football was $12,000 a year with a $6,000 signing bonus. That's true. That's what I got. I made All-Pro Rookie of the Year and caught about 58 passes that year or something. So there were no multi-year contracts, so I go in and I speak to George Hallis. I'm sitting right across the desk from the guy who started the National Football League. And he looks at me and he says this. He said, "Kid," he called everybody, kid, you had a good year. Pretty good year, he said. You did this, you did. But I had to fine you twice. You missed curfew. And I did, and he fined me $500 each time. Now, and this is the truth. But then he came up with this one. He said, "But it's okay." He said, I'm going to give you 12,000, or no, I'm going to give you 14,000 this year, which, he assumed it was a $2,000 raise. So I'm a pretty smart guy. I'm sitting there, I said, "Coach, 12 and 6 is 18. I said, I'd be damned if I'd sign for a penny less than 18. As soon as I said it, he opened the drawer, pulled out a contract for $18,000, and I signed it. I never got a raise, but he knew he wasn't going to give me a raise. That was it. But thank you so much. I'm not distinguished, but I'm proud. Thank you.
Coach.